Good morning. Welcome to the Premier League predictions program.
Table list.
And today we have myself, Terry, and Brandon. And we're going to see, and we're going to look at this all the way through the season and see who's going to win this. And I think it's going to be me. So there. We'll kick off with bottom place.
Can I go first?
Brandon will go first.
For me, I think Gangan probably agrees with this. He's in Reading with Gangan video, so go and watch that and subscribe. At 20th, I've got Luton Town.
So have I.
Yes. I think they're getting relegated because they're a newly promoted team, and because they're promoted, I don't think they're going to have loads and loads of money. So, I think Luton are finishing bottom. But I think they will have an attempt to stay up. I think it's fair for them. Do you want to have 19th?
Yes, I'll go for 19th, and I honestly think that, unfortunately, I wouldn't want them in this position, but I think they'll be in this position, and that's Sheffield United.
Yeah, I agree with Gangan here.
I think that they've got a lot of class acts, a lot of middle-of-the-road teams who have improved and spent some money. So I think Sheffield United will finish in 19th position.
Yep, I definitely agree with Gangan.
The final relegation place. Who is it going to be?
Well, for me, at 18th, I've got Bournemouth. And the reason I'm doing this, they've got the team to stay up, but they haven't got really the money to stay up. But the biggest reason I think Bournemouth are getting relegated is the sacking of Gary O'Neill. I think they've made a massive mistake sacking him. So I think Bournemouth are finishing 18th.
That's a very good call, Brandon, that. I think that Bournemouth could well be very much struggling. But I do think it's going to be close. And I do think there is another side who have not had a very good close season. They've lost a lot of good class acts. And I think that they will be in the final relegation place. And that's Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Okay. At 17th, I don't agree with Gangan. For 17th, for me, I'm going Wolves. Because they've lost Ruben Neves, which I find they've made a big mistake. He's 26 and he's gone to Saudi Arabia. They are ruining football, Saudi Arabia. And they've lost Ruben Neves to Saudi Arabia. Raul Jimenez isn't the best anymore. Jose saw Forrester interested in our club, Reds, and Forrester interested in him, but he can stay if Forrest get Dean Anderson. So I think they are going to stay up, but I think Bournemouth are obviously getting relegated. I think Wolves are staying up by goal difference, and they've won 2 points, just because Ruben Neves has gone really. I think he's class. So, Gangan, now you're 17th.
Well, I'm the other way around to you. I have got Bournemouth, who's just escaped it. It is going to be very, very close. The reason that I've put Bournemouth down there is perhaps because the same as what Brandon was saying. Getting rid of Gary O'Neill was perhaps not a very clever idea.
Yeah, big mistake.
But I do think that it's going to be a toss-up between Bournemouth and Wolves, but I think those two are going to have a very, very poor season.
Right, so let's get on to 16th. I'll say this one. This is my friend's team. 16th, I'm going with Everton because obviously they've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they've got Seamus Coleman, they've got James Garner who played for Forest last season, who put the ball in that really got us promoted. I think they can get 16th. I think they'll stay up. They've got Calvert-Lewin, my friend's favourite player, but I feel like because Everton are 16th, I reckon they finished 17th last season. This season, I think they get 16th because I reckon Calvert-Lewin got injuries and everything. I think Connor Cody's gone to the Championship with them. Leicester got Pickford, but I think they won't get any higher than 16th with Everton. Gangan?
I've got the same. I think that Everton. The next three is Everton, Palace and West Ham, and I think all three of those are going to really, really struggle. I think the places, they maybe change one or two, but I do think that those will be the clubs that are battling down there, and it will very, very close. I think that the the bottom two will be cut adrift, but after that it's going to be a long hard slog, a little bit like last season. But I have got Everton in 16th place.
So for me, at 15th, I've actually got one of the new promoted sides. I've got Burnley. I think they've just signed James Trafford, and I think that's really going to help out the defence. Because obviously he's just been on loan from Manchester City at Bolton Wanderers, and helping them get higher. Have they been promoted, Bolton?
Before, yeah.
No, I mean that's last season.
Oh no.
So obviously, but James Trafford, one of the best young keepers that England have got right now, one of the best young keepers in the world, really, in my eyes. And obviously, just saved the penalty with the England under-21s winning them the under-21 Euros. So I reckon Burnley are in for 15th. I reckon they can stay up above Everton. So,
well,
yep, Gangan, you're 15th.
My 15th is Crystal Palace. I think Roy Hodgson did a fantastic job last year.
Yeah, he did.
I'm led to believe they're keeping him on for this season. But I do think that losing Zaha and
Elise might be leaving.
Elise may be leaving, yeah. I do think that Palace will have a bit of a difficult struggle this year. And be down there amongst the relegation places as the season progresses.
Nice.
Number 14, I'm going to go for West Ham. I think West Ham was very lucky to get out of the mire last year. I know that Europe perhaps got in the way for them, but they did well in that. But they've got a few ageing players, and they've lost a few players, and particularly Rice, who's going to find it very, very difficult to replace. So my 14th place is West Ham.
And in my 14th, I've got the same as Gangan, obviously West Ham, because they've lost Declan Rice for 105 million, obviously, to Arsenal, who's making waves in that transfer market. Obviously, they've lost Declan Rice. Yes, as Gangan said, they've got Asian players. They've got Gianluigi Scamacca, who I think deserves a chance in the Premier League. Obviously, a young Italian striker. Obviously, can succeed in the league. Mikel Antonio, he's like 33. They've got Danny Ings, obviously, who's moved to Aston Villa. So, obviously, they ain't got him anymore. And, lots of Asian players, as Gangan said. David Moyes did okay at West Ham, kept him up, really. And we'll get on to 13th, which I've got, personally, as Brentford. I think they had a great season last season, obviously. Thomas Frank is a class manager. He was class for them last season. Obviously, David Raya said he wants Champions League football. For me, him, Alisson and Ramsdale ran the show in goal for the Premier League last season, obviously. Him being like 26, 27, that sort of age, but he is class, David Raya. Obviously, just on Kevin Schade, Ivan Toney being banned for 8 months with betting and that, so obviously I think they're going to struggle at 13th without him. But I don't think they're getting relegated. I think they have got some class in other positions. I think they do stay up, but at 13th, just because of Ivan Toney. But I think when he comes back, he is going to really help them out by scoring the goals. I think he's class, Ivan Toney, but he's been banned for the 8 months. I mean, I reckon, Brentford at 13th.
Same here, Brentford at 13th, and particularly the same reasons. I think Thomas Frank really is a class act manager, but the loss of Ivan Toney.
Class act all the time, you're.
The loss of Ivan Toney is paramount to them. The goals kept them in things last year, and I don't think the goals will flow this year, and I think they will therefore have a little bit of a struggle.
At 12th?
At 12th place, it's my turn to go. And at 12th place, I'm going to go for Burnley. And I've got Burnley out of the trouble and a pretty decent season to get up there. And I think that's due to company. I think he's buying well. I think he's got some very, very good players up there.
Yeah, they've got James Trafford as well.
And they just bought James Trafford. So 12th place, but I don't think they can better that.
For me, at 12th I've got Crystal Palace. finished around there last season. Obviously, Roy Hodgson is absolute class at Crystal Palace. A superb manager for them. Oh, but Michael Elise, as I've mentioned for Gangan's 15th, I think they might be losing him. I think Liverpool, Arsenal, City and Chelsea are all interested in him. In City, I think. He's absolute class, Mikel Elise. Great midfielder. He's just been called up for England, I think, actually. Great central attacking midfielder, number 10. But I think if he does stay, he can take him 12th. And even if he does leave, I think Roy Hodgson is going to be absolutely superb for Crystal Palace, as he already was. I feel like he really helped him stay up. And obviously Wilfried Zaha, obviously scoring lots of goals for them. He might be joining Galatasaray for a free transfer because I think his contract's gone, so I reckon 12th is Crystal Palace. Now, Gangan, tell me your 11th.
My 11th. Unfortunately, they had such a great season last season, but have lost some decent players. And I think that Brighton are going to be down in the bottom half, obviously 11th. And I can't see them getting any better than that. I think the manager did an exceptional job.
Yep.
He's going to find it very difficult because unless Brighton's done well in picking people up and transforming them into a better type of player.
Yeah, they are like the best recruitment in the league. They're picking up Matoma until he joined Brighton and Caicedo. Me and Gangan had never heard of them. They've came to Brighton and they're absolute superstars. So for my 11th, Gangan, I think you're being a bit harsh by putting Brighton at 11th. I've actually got Fulham. Bernd Leno was absolutely class for them. Great goalkeeper, obviously just leaving Arsenal for Ramsdale. I mean, he's a great keeper. They've obviously got Marco Silva as the head coach, who's great, class act, as Gangan would say. But obviously João Falfinha put in the most challenges in the Premier League last season. I think he got over 100, which is absolutely amazing. One of the best defensive midfielders in the league last season. Obviously, Mitrovic may be going to Saudi Arabia and leaving. So I think Fulham gets them because Falfinha might be leaving, and obviously he's just got an injury to his shoulder, I think. Dislocated shoulder, I think he has just got in the pre-season. So I think with players leaving, like Falfinha might be leaving, and Mitrovic might be leaving, they have got class. Fulham, but I reckon they get 11th.
Well, I watched Fulham last night in the tournament. I watched them beat
Brentford, I think.
Brentford, I think it was, yes. And I think that Fulham are purring. They've got a very fine-tuned machine there. I think they've got a great manager in Marco Silva. And I do think that even if they lost Mitrovic,
and Falfinha.
I don't think Falfinha will go at this minute, but Mitrovic, he may well go. But I do think that Fulham have got a real good team together there. So I put Fulham in the top 10, but 10th. Right, now, which way are we going to go? From the top down or from 10 up? I'll let you decide, Brandon.
At 10th, I've got my club. I'm Gangan's club. I've got Nottingham Forest, obviously. We've just signed Ola Rania. I think Dean Henderson and Anthony Elanga having the medical at the club going on. They can't see your face. So I think Ola Rania is now a Nottingham Forest player. Dean Henderson and Anthony Elanga, I think, having the medical from Manchester United. Started the pre-season. We've beat Notts County. Lost to... Who was it we lost to?
Valencia.
Yeah, lost to Valencia. But we've won the next game. Obviously, I think we're going to make signings. I think Nottingham Forest can stay up. I think the highest they'll get is 10th. Though I've got to be a bit harsh on some clubs. But I reckon Nottingham Forest are getting 10th. Gangan's got them quite high. But where Gangan's got them, I feel like we're making signings, but I don't think they're going to be signings that's going to take us to how high Gangan's got us.
Well, I think in 9th place it's going to be Chelsea. And I do think that Chelsea have got a very, very good manager. but he's going to need time.
Yeah, but
And he's going to need time.
Pochettino.
Yeah, they're going to need time because they've had to sell, or they have sold, quite a lot of their players.
Kovacic has gone to Manchester City from
That means they've got to bring a lot of new players in. But when you bring a lot of new players in, a bit like what Forest did last year, it takes time for them to settle. They've got to settle.
Yeah, and players have got to go. So I mean,
so I'd put Chelsea down to 9th. I can't see them doing much better than that.
at 9th, well, I've got Brighton. I think Gangan's got them at 11th. Bit harsh on Brighton. I think they are a great team. Obviously, great recruitment. I think they've signed somebody from like Romania or something like that already. Young winger. Like, I think they are class, Brighton's recruitment. I think their scouts are on another planet. I don't know where they get them from, but they are very good. Obviously, bringing players in.
True.
I think they are absolutely superb. Obviously, last season in talks with on the 21-22 season, they were in talks with Ben Bertrand Diaz. Obviously, gone off to Spain, I think Valencia or something like that on a free, but he is class. Victor Gyökeres also. I don't think he was in talks there, but he's gone off to Spain as well. No, he's... Oh, God. Burping.
Hey.
And he's gone off to Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. So I think Brighton with the recruitment obviously might lose Caicedo. I think Bazoon... No, he plays Southampton. I think obviously Brighton, I think they're getting 9th. Obviously, what's his name, the keeper... Robert Sanchez might be leaving. Jason Steele's quite old, so I reckon Brighton are finishing 9th.
Oh, well, getting very, very tight now. Well, I will jump to 8th place, and I think that Tottenham will jump into the 8th position. I do think that Tottenham will have a few problems, especially if they sell Harry Kane.
Yeah.
From buying players, they've not been too good. And I do honestly feel that they lost out in not going for Pochettino. I think should he have gone back to Tottenham, Tottenham would have been a far better act than what I can envisage them being this year. But in saying that, I've got them in the top 8. I can't believe that we're going to the top 7 here, and I haven't mentioned Forest yet, but here we go.
In my 8th, I agree with Gangan. I'm putting Tottenham. Obviously, Luke might be losing Kane because Kane said from the Tottenham News, obviously, he said he doesn't want to sign a new contract. 1 year left on his contract, obviously. I think if he doesn't sign a new contract, obviously Bayern Munich want him. They're robbing the Premier League. They've already got Kyle Walker, obviously. He could go to Manchester United. I think Harry Kane is one of the best English strikers of all time. The best in my eyes. I think Harry Kane, if he goes anywhere, I think he should go to Manchester United. To go with Rashford and Antony and Bruno Fernandes, class that would be for them. And I think I don't see Tottenham getting any higher than 8th. So I mean, that's where I've got them. I think they got 8th last season as well. So I mean, I reckon Tottenham plays 8th. In my eyes.
Right. Who's going to go next?
Do you want to go?
I think I'll go next. And in 7th place, Nottingham Forest. The reason I put Forest this high up is because I don't think 7 is my lucky number. Yeah, I don't think you can judge Forest on last season. They had to do several things, buying 30 players, etc., because we hadn't got a squad. But this season we've got opportunities. We need to pick the best out of that 30 and replace them with some very, very class players. Which I think we will do. Obviously, there's still about 40 days of the transfer market still to go.
39.
39.
To be exact.
So I do think that given fair wind, I think we've got one of the best managers in the league.
Gangan, I don't think half of my viewers know what that means.
And I am going to pick 7th place because 7 is my lucky number.
I told you. And about Nottingham Forest, I saw in a Sogdom video, he said that Nottingham Forest don't need to sign anyone. And I think he's completely wrong there. We do need signings because players are going to leave. I think John Joe Shelby needs to go. He spent one season here, was alright, but obviously had a fallout with the manager and Ariata, both of them. God, I don't care, they need to go, both of them. And I think we are going to need to bring players in like Remo Frawler needs to go. We need to keep Morgan Gibbs White. I think Brennan Johnson should stay at the club because he's going to end up like Jed Spence, leaving Middlesbrough to go to Tottenham. And now he's just gone out on loan to, I think, Stade Rennais. So I think we should finish 10th in my eyes. And I think, yes, I do think we do need to make signings and sell players. So at 7th for me, Gangan, you had 7th, which you said Forest at 7th. I think they're not going to get any higher than this. I've got Chelsea because obviously they've just signed Maurizio Pochettino as the coach, sacking Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. So I think they've got Pochettino, they've got Kepa, who's alright, and then they've got Thiago Silva, who's still good, Reece James, Koulibaly might be going to Arabia. I think Wesley Fofana's just done his ACL, so Benoit Badiashile might have to play there for the next season. Obviously Kai Havertz has left, Mason Mount's left as well. But I think Chelsea can actually finish 7th, get the Europa Conference League football. So I reckon Chelsea for 7th. Gangan, do you want to have 6 for me?
Yeah, well, I'll go for the top 6. Now, this is going to be very, very difficult this year. There's not going to be a lot to choose between these 6 clubs. I think that all of them have progressed, all of them will progress better. I think obviously several of the clubs have had their problems, and I think they've all come through the problems. But in 6th place, I'm going to go for Aston Villa. I think they had a remarkable season last year, and I think that he will continue, Emery will continue pushing them and pushing them. They've got some very, very good players, and they've just bought some good players.
Yep, they've got Yuri Tielemans, Moussa Diaby, they've signed Pau Torres as well. Got some class in that defence with obviously Tyrone Mings, who played great last season, and Diego Carlos and Desiree Conda, and they've just signed Pau Torres, who's great young centre-back. I think he's about 25 years old for a centre-back. That is young for saying that. There's some great old centre-backs like Thiago Silva, who's about 38 and class for Chelsea last season. Obviously Moussa Diaby, great young winger, obviously was rumoured to go to Saudi Arabia. He's 24, they are ruining football, as I said earlier on in the video. But they've got Moussa Diaby, so I think Aston Villa, I think...
You've gone one up.
So yeah, I think for Gangan, Villa gets 6. No.
Yeah.
No.
You are 6.
So for 6th, I've got Manchester United because I feel like if they don't get Harry Kane, because people like Villa, Liverpool, Newcastle, and those sort of teams making really good improvements to the squad, like Sandro Tonali, great number 6 Tonali, or number 8. I think he's a very versatile player. Sandro Tonali, great defensive midfielder. I think he's just gone to Newcastle for about £60 million. I think Man U do get 6 because if they don't get Harry Kane, I can see them getting about 4th maybe. 5th or 4th if they do get Harry Kane. But this is, if they don't get Harry Kane, they get 6th because they've got Rashford and that, but I feel like with the other teams making improvements to their squads, I think Man U have got to get 6th. 6th or higher I think Man U can get, but I just don't think anything like that. I think David De Gea's left, they've signed Andre Onana, who's quite good from what I've heard from me, and I reckon Andy's been the manager of Onana, Eric Ten Hag, at Ajax, so obviously he knows him. And at the World Cup he always came out of his goal, got tackled a few times, but I mean, I feel like that's what Man U need if they're going to play sort of a counter-attacking sort of play of football. So I think Andre Onana can start out those attacks. Obviously, David De Gea, he's a quite good shot stopper, but I think his distribution isn't the calibre, nowhere near Ederson. But I think just for starting those counter-attacks, I think Andre Onana is going to be a perfect fit at Manchester United. So, Gangan, let's get on to your fifth.
Well, getting very, very tight, this is.
Yeah, it is.
I do go for Liverpool. I think Liverpool have had a couple of seasons where they've been absolutely magnificent.
No.
And then on the second breath, they've been very, very poor. I think they're pulling themselves out of it. And I do think that Liverpool, although I haven't got them in the top four, I do think that it'll be very, very close. And they'll take a few points off some of the ones who have got in front of them. But overall, over the season, I do think that Liverpool won't get any higher than fifth.
For me, in fifth, I've actually got... Did I say my fifth?
No, you didn't. It's Aston Villa, I see.
Yep, in my fifth I have got Aston Villa. Because they've signed Yuri Tielemans. Great midfielder, obviously. I think he's 81 rated on next FIFA. I think that's unfair on him. He didn't really have a bad season. It's just Leicester that had a bad season. Obviously, he can play attacking midfield. He can play defensive midfield. Just a great all-round midfielder, Yuri Tielemans. I think his best attribute is probably that central midfield role because he can ping a ball quite a long way, take a free kick and that. Obviously, they've signed Pau Torres, who's a class centre-back. Got Tyrone Mings, they've got Ollie Watkins, who's a great number 9. And if they need him, they've got Leon Bailey. They've also got Danny Ings, great number 9. Did he go to Aston Villa or did he leave Villa?
No, I think he's still with him.
What did he play for West Ham?
Oh, well, did he go on loan?
I don't know. But obviously, I don't know if they've got Danny Ings or not, but I mean, they are class Aston Villa, and I think they can get Europa League football. Obviously, did they get 6th? I think they did get Europa League football or Conference League football this season, Aston Villa. Unai Emery is an absolute superb manager. I think he can lead them to Europa League football. So, Gangan, let's get with your fourth. See who you've got.
Yeah, that's it now. Top 4.
The
Champions League football.
Some big clubs in this.
It's been very, very difficult. Difficult finding the top 4 because there is so many clubs that are improving all the while. So many clubs are now getting a bit more money and spending a bit more money.
Especially with the Saudi Arabia takeover and that. So, I mean...
But I think dropping down to the 4th position, I'm going to go for Man United.
Yep.
And the reason I picked Man United in that top 4 is because I think that the manager, Ten Hag, has had a very, very difficult job to do. And I think he started by shelling people who a lot of people didn't think that he would shell. And David De Gea, 1. Harry Maguire, 2. And then the young kids he's letting go. Ilana, maybe one of them. Elanga, sorry. And he's replacing them. He's going to replace them with some good players.
Yeah.
But there's one key to Man United, and I think Brandon mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
And that's Harry Kane. And I think if Harry Kane wanted to do himself the biggest favour in football, that's the club he should join.
Yeah. Okay.
And if he joins Manchester United, they're going to take some stopping.
Obviously, adding on to what Gangan said, if they do sign Harry Kane, obviously he's never won a trophy in his career. He's about 30, one of the obviously, as I've said, I reckon the greatest English striker of all time. So I think he's absolute class player. Harry Kane, he can pass a ball as well. He's the best English striker at the moment. I actually prefer him to Erling Haaland, obviously. Erling Haaland, he's a great number 9. He's the description of a number 9. He's like Peter Crouch. He's so big. But on the ball, Harry Kane is the best striker in the league. I reckon Mbappe's a better left winger, so I reckon Harry Kane right now is the best number 9 in the world.
Yeah.
So in my 4th, I've actually got Liverpool. Because obviously, got Cody Gakpo, got Mo Salah. Obviously, they're signing players though. Alexis McAllister is superb class. Gangan would say class act. He's absolutely superb for Brighton last season. Dominic Szoboszlai, he's only missed one penalty in his whole career. He has got ice in his veins. He is absolutely incredible. He scored a penalty against PSG and he just silenced Neymar, and it's just, that kid is 23 and he has got they've got some stopping. Look, I think Dominic Szoboszlai, whatever his name is, from Hungary, I think he can be absolutely superb for Liverpool. I reckon Liverpool get top 4 next season. Obviously, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Trent might be moving into that midfield. So Liverpool are going to have the midfield of dreams. They're going to have Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then in the attack Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz maybe, and Mo Salah, Van Dijk, a bit overrated, but still good, Robertson, and then Alisson in goal, and Jurgen Klopp. And I think Jurgen Klopp's one of the best managers in the world, just because Sadio Mane, Coutinho, they all leave for like the money and that and the trophies. But I think Klopp's doing a great job because he's not standing in the way of anyone leaving. He just says, player wants to leave, and he just goes, you can go. But
Pep's very much the same, isn't
yeah, but he should know, but they should know, no player in the world, no one, has left Klopp's side to go to another club and done better than what they have at Liverpool. Coutinho, amazing at Liverpool. Sadio Mane, amazing at Liverpool. No player has left Liverpool
Going
to
back
do
a while.
any better.
Torres, going back a while.
Yeah,
he
went
left,
Chelsea.
went Chelsea.
And he was rubbish.
Not the same sort of player, was it?
No, so no player has left Liverpool to be, especially Klopp's side, Mane, everyone. Anyone who left Klopp's side has not left to do any better. So, I mean, in my eyes, Klopp, great manager, so I reckon Liverpool get 4th for me. Gangan, you're 3rd.
Right.
Got the same one, haven't we?
Yeah. And in 3rd place, I'm going to go for Newcastle. And I think that Newcastle are a surprise club this last year, and they're going to be a surprise club this year. I do rate the manager. Eddie Howe is one of the best managers in football, and I do think that
you wanted him for the Forest job.
I did want him for the Forest job originally.
Yeah, he wanted Cooper or Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe or Cooper, and we got Cooper. I wasn't too unhappy, but Eddie Howe has done a magnificent job at Newcastle.
Because he is magnificent.
And he really, really will take this club a long way on a really good journey. If you look at the signings, Harvey Barnes.
Tonali.
He is really, really thinking about where the weaknesses are in the side and plugging the gaps.
But they've got Harvey Barnes in on the left side. They've got Alexander Isak.
Yeah, but
left side of dreams. They have Harvey Barnes, who my Gangan thinks is absolutely superb, and Isak. He's about 6'2".
Isak can play through the middle.
Yeah, Isak can play anywhere. He's so good. He's class. He's quick. He can hit a ball. That goal, I think, that Jacob Murphy scored, you said it was one of the best goals last season. When he just dribbled past 3 or 4 players,
along
put
the
him
line,
through the side.
push across.
And then obviously I think it was Jacob Murphy who finished it. I think he's absolutely superb, can play down the middle as well. Probably could play him on the right, and Miguel Almiron's obviously Asian, but Almiron, I think him and Morgan Gibbs-White and Jacob Ramsey were the most underrated players in the league. Like Jacob Ramsey, I think, was very underrated, and Morgan Gibbs-White. No one was talking about him. And Tyrell Wangi, 6 goals in 4 games. Haaland got 1 goal in 6 games. Wangi was absolutely superb. So I mean, I'll get on to my 3rd, which is Newcastle. Obviously the same as Gangan. Obviously they've signed Sandro Tonali and signed Harvey Barnes. Did they win or lose against Aston Villa?
Well, in this tournament?
Yeah.
No, it was 3-3. No, they played. It was Aston Villa, yeah, 3-3.
3-3, my Gangan said. And obviously, great team Newcastle have got, especially Nick Pope. Great player, but he's aging a bit, and I feel like he's dropped off a bit because people are saying he's best keeper in the league. But he's dropped off a bit towards the end of the season because he had that moment where he handballed it.
Who is your best keeper in the league?
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale?
And I reckon Newcastle can have Pope, but I reckon David Raya is better than Nick Pope. So I reckon they bring David Raya in, great goalkeeper, obviously can play in that goalkeeper position. So I reckon that's my third gang, and you get on to your second.
Well, we've got the same to 1 and 2, and we've obviously...
You're not supposed to say that.
Obviously, these two are the class acts last year, weren't they?
Yeah.
Arsenal had a fantastic
Just dropped off a bit
run
towards the
in,
end of the
but
season.
dropped off towards the end. Yeah, just that little bit. It just shows you the resilience of Manchester City.
Yeah.
I've got City in second place this year, and the reason is...
Next year.
Next year. The reason is I'm a bit perturbed on who they have happened to
What does
lose.
perturbed mean?
Well, I'm upset about it. Losing players of the ability.
Gundogan, Cancelo.
Gundogan was Walker. Who was it? Cancelo.
Yeah, he's gone on to.
Obviously, you have to replace him.
I
And Pep will replace him. Pep knows who he wants to replace
Yeah,
him.
but can you
and
get
he's
a
got players in
replacement
the
for
squad
Kyle Walker?
to replace him. But in saying that, they still need time. You look at the young kids. Who
Rico Lewis.
played for England under 21s. Can they do it at the very top table in the Prem? I doubt it very much. So I think that
Rico
Arsenal.
Lewis, he played about 7 games for Man City over Kyle Walker, and really I thought he played great. Rico Lewis, he's young, he's only about 19 as well.
The experience of Walker, though. I mean, the speed of Walker, the dominance of Walker.
Yeah, he is the best right back.
Yeah. And so I just think that City will get swap places with Arsenal. So I'm going to leave it to Brandon. He's got the top position to talk about first.
For my number 1, Arsenal, I feel like Aaron Ramsdale, as I mentioned, I think 2 or 3 times in this episode of, obviously, how we're talking about Football Mine and Gangan series. Yes, Gangan, now it's a series. Nothing you can do about it.
Series.
So, yep, obviously, they've got Aaron Ramsdale, who I've mentioned is the best keeper in the league about 2 or 3 times. Got Declan Rice, magnificent, he's an absolute superb DM. Duran Timber, he's a great young player, obviously played for Ajax and Netherlands, came over. They've got Kai Havertz as well. Obviously he had a bad season at Chelsea really last season. Came to Arsenal, £60 million. And obviously up front they've got Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. So I think with what they've got and Zinchenko now for left back and that, obviously improving depth in that team, Arsenal, and Jorginho, Havertz and everyone, Thomas Partey if he stays, Tommy Yasu and everyone. I think Arsenal, top of the table, and Mikel Arteta. He's like 40. He's a very young manager, can lead Arsenal for maybe 10 years like Arsene Wenger did. Maybe do like an invincible season if City drops off. And really, I think Mikel Arteta and Arsenal can win the league.
Right, is that it? Have you finished? Right, well, I'll go then. Number 1, Arsenal. I do think Arsenal will win the league, but I don't think Arsenal will win the first match of the season.
They're playing Forest.
They will find it very, very difficult.
Against Forest.
But I do honestly think that Arsenal, what a side this guy is building. He's improving every single position and quality and depth. When you're looking at players like Smith Rowe, is Smith Rowe going to get in the 25? It really is a strong call at Arsenal this year. But we'll both put them at number one, and I think at the end of the season we will review what we've done here and see who's won.
Okay, bye guys.
Okay, if Sky Sports is watching and you need a replacement for Jeff Stelling,
Get us on it.
the only one here is Brandon Stanleyforth, who can talk for England. Bye!
Review them on it.